have a quick quiz for you. Which statement is true? Number 1, using a metronome will greatly improve your guitar playing. Number 2, using a metronome will hold back your guitar playing progress. If you said number 1, you're right. If you said number 2, you're right. The metronome is a tool, and it can be a very valuable tool if used properly. Now, you can also use it, or abuse it, I should say, in a way that will hold back your progress. I got this from a student recently. He says, "I'm struggling with the metronome. We are not friends. It seems I overthink everything while trying to use it, and it's a distraction. I can practice with the metronome, but I have to slow it way down to play in time. And yet, I can tap my foot and play at a normal speed. Should I keep it in my practice and just get used to it?" So the first thing I told the student is, I think you might be using the metronome too much. One of the main things about a metronome is you want to use it for specific uses and not for everything in the practice. I would find it not only a distraction, you try to use it for everything, but it will be counterproductive for some things. The other thing I said is if you're having a hard time playing with the metronome, but you can play faster with your foot, you have to question if your foot is actually as accurate as you think it is. And I have to say, for most students, it's not. You unconsciously slow down and speed up, even slightly, to kind of fit what you're working on. And to tell you the truth, it's not easy to keep a good steady beat and be concentrating on something that you're having a difficult time with. The metronome is good for 3 things. Now, the most obvious, it's to help you with accurate rhythm. And it does a great job of that. It's a great tool for that purpose. The second thing, it's a great measuring tool and just one of many possible ways to measure your progress. You can practice some exercises or chord changes at a slower speed and then track your progress. It makes it fun. And the third thing might not be so obvious, but I think it's actually one of the most important things. It helps my students to slow down and get it right. It works because when you slow down the metronome, we're going a very objective speed on the metronome. You can say, I'm playing at this speed, and I still can't quite get it right, so I got to slow it down again. When you rely on just your own instinct, it seems to be a natural for all of us to just keep speeding up as fast as we can and to kind of smooth over some of the mistakes and errors that we're making. I think contrary to some people's beliefs, I don't think the metronome actually helps you play faster. I think it's a measuring tool to kind of uncover how quickly you can play and play accurately. And in a way, it helps you to play faster because by measuring, it encourages you to kind of play this game, to get faster and try to get better. But I don't think in and of itself, it actually helps you to play faster. Here's some ways to use a metronome. First, I love using a metronome to just practice basic exercises, either single notes, like a scale or a single note exercise, or a chord exercise where you're changing chords on a certain beat. By using a metronome, we can track our progress. And again, it's only one way to track progress. Playing it at a certain tempo but sloppy with lots of errors doesn't really work. So that's just one way. A tempo is one measurement. I think it's fun to make a little log and write down your progress. So you start at 60 beats per minute, and then the next day up to 66, and the next day up to 68, and you realize you're kind of fumbling at 68, maybe go back to 66 for a day or two. But over time, you're likely to play faster. Your tempo's likely to go up, and that's kind of a nice pat on the back, some way of measuring your progress. Now, the kind of exercises I'm talking about could be a scale or an exercise, but I think it's a great way to practice chords also. I'd like students to play a chord, let's say 1 per beat, and then after 4 beats, change to another chord. Very slow. If they're having a hard time changing to that other chord, that means they need to work on the chord some more. But if you can do it at a slow tempo, then little by little, keep picking up the tempo until you can change quicker and quicker. That translates greatly when you play a song to be able to change smoothly. If you want to up the ante, try playing 1 chord for 2 beats and then another chord for 2 beats. And then go ahead and up it again by playing 1 chord on 1 beat and 1 chord on 1 beat. There's no end to the exercises you can make up for yourself that'll help you kind of measure your progress and push you to get the chord changes correctly. I like to go through a song a few times with the metronome at a slow pace, and it kind of helps me uncover where I'm kind of making errors or falling down on the rhythm or on the notes. Once I uncover where the problems are, I'll isolate it and just work on that part, usually without a metronome. The main key here is to use the metronome only for a portion of your practice, not the whole practice session. You want to, over time, develop a sense of internal rhythm. And if you use the metronome all the time, it gets to be a crutch. So I'm talking maybe out of a 20-minute session, use the metronome for between 2 and 4 minutes for some exercise or something, and then move on to practicing without the metronome. So I'm going to stop here for today. I hope if you're not using a metronome that I've inspired you to give it a try. And I think you'll find over time it's a very useful tool. If you're already using a metronome, let us know how you like to use it. Leave a comment down below and we'd love to hear from you. This is the 8th day of my 30-day guitar coaching challenge. So it's a challenge for me, but for you it's 30 days of guitar coaching. If you appreciate what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up. And most importantly, let me know if you have any questions that I can include in this video series. I'd love to do that. I hope to see you again tomorrow. Bye.